Today's episode of Flash Reviews is a spooky, scary special to get us all in the mood for All Hallows Eve. It also lets me practice my generic evil voice. Number 1. Devil Daggers. I'm not entirely sure what's going on in this extremely bizarre first-person shooter. It's an arcade-style game in which you have an infinite number of what I assume are daggers, and there is an infinite number of eldritch beings which I assume are devils trying to kill you for some unspecified reason. Whatever this game is meant to be about, there are a few things I can say about it for certain. One is that it's certainly exciting, if a bit bewildering, to bounce and dash around chucking daggers at things faster than is humanly possible, and the other is that it's extremely hard. I had trouble lasting even a single minute, largely because being even gently touched by any of the extremely plentiful enemies means instant death. I don't know how it does it, but somehow this game manages to be simple and yet at the same time an utter mind screw. But in general, it is a very fun game, and given how addictive it is, you will certainly get a lot of playtime for its very low asking price of only £3.99. Number 2. They bleed pixels. In more ways than one, this game is deceptively simple. It's a pixel graphic side-scrolling platformer in which you play as a little girl at an academy for troubled young ladies who suffers from recurring nightmares in which she becomes a horrifying clawed creature and stabs the living daylights out of things. The game has a very heavy combat focus, and there are only 3 controls, those being attack, jump, and move. But even with such simple controls, the game lets you combine attacking with jumps and movement as well as various button pressing patterns to create very detailed and variable combos, something which you will without a doubt need to do since this game is also very hard and you will die a lot as you play, and pulling off stylish combos fills a meter which serves as your method of creating checkpoints. You can also unlock new combos as you play, each one adding new and interesting ways to make your enemies gush pixelated blood everywhere. There's a certain catharsis to be had in super gory pixel games like this, and very few other games can pull it off this well. As a comparison, Hotline Miami comes to mind. In summary, it's deliciously eldritch, brutally gory, fiendishly difficult, and a hell of a lot of fun, and reasonably priced too. For £6.99, you could do a lot worse. Number 3. Montagues Mount. This walking simulator follows the story of a man who washes up on an Irish island with no memory of who he is, and as he begins to explore, a mystery begins to unfold as he discovers various hidden secrets on the island. The plot is, in my opinion, very well done. The lone voice actor does a very good job voicing the main character, and the atmosphere is nicely dark and creepy, but just as the island harbours its secrets, this game harbours some problems. For one, you're restricted to a snail's pace for the entire game, and although this makes sense in the game's context, the associated tedium coupled with all the wandering around looking for things you have to do hampers the enjoyability of the game just slightly. The second thing is the puzzles. I know the puzzles in this kind of game are typically not too easy and require a bit of lateral thinking sometimes, but I do draw the line where a game requires you to know Morse code to proceed, without even giving you any kind of crash course. Also, from a technical point of view, the game doesn't have manual saving, which is a minor annoyance, especially considering that the game only autosaves when you reach certain key points in the story. I'll go out on a limb though and say that if you're keen on this kind of game, you'll probably enjoy it. It's not genre defining, but as walking simulators go, it's good enough for £6.99, and on a side note, it's the only game I've seen which claims to promote the Irish language. I'm a bit of a fan of the Celtic languages, so I give personal kudos to the devs for that, and if you are too, that's another reason to be interested in this game. Number 4. Johnny Graves, the Unchosen One. In this top-down shooter, you play as the eponymous Johnny Graves, the bastard son of Satan, or rather, the old Satan named Azazekiel, who has recently been killed and usurped. His usurper seeks the power that Azazekiel wielded in order to invade the mortal realm, and it's up to Johnny to stop him. I must say, as plots go, it's actually a pretty inventive take on the whole heaven versus hell idea, and it complements the gameplay very well too. Johnny comes equipped with a gun, which speaks for itself, but also present is a gun spell mechanic, allowing you to use your gun to channel various magical effects. The top-down gunplay is fun enough on its own, but the gun's spells add a very interesting new dimension to it. It's comparable in a way to how games like Diablo and the like handle special abilities. That said, the gun spell icons at the bottom of the screen sometimes don't do a very good job of showing what the gun spells are actually meant to do. Only through experimentation did I find out what the 2 gun spells I have unlocked here did, but once I figured it out, they ended up being quite fun to use. Overall, Johnny Graves has a unique premise, fun gameplay, and a pretty interesting story to go with it. What more can you ask for £3.99? Number 5. Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet. This insanely twisted Metroidvania sees you controlling an alien in a little flying saucer, exploring the titular insanely twisted Shadow Planet in order to reach its core, using various ship upgrades you discover along the way to help you overcome the planet's obstacles, including a little laser gun, a grabbing arm, and a shield. There are two things that make this game really stand out, the first of which is the gameplay. The free movement of the ship combined with the various weapons and upgrades you can gather makes for a very original gameplay experience and some very inventive and interesting puzzles. The second thing is its art style. It's cartoonish, but at the same time it's brimming with darkness and uninviting fear. It's very rare that a game can convey purely through its art style such a tangible feeling of loneliness and helplessness as you struggle to make your way across this macabre planet where you can never be truly sure what will try and kill you and when. I have a lot of respect for games which can communicate that much without any kind of language or dialogue. All things considered, this is a brilliant little Metroidvania which enjoys a gorgeously thick, dark and disturbing atmosphere and a novel gameplay experience, both adding together to create a truly unique game. It's also the most expensive game of this list at £11.99, but trust me, you're more than getting your money's worth for that much. That is all for this episode of Flash Reviews. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, leave a comment if you liked it, leave a comment if you didn't like it. Either way, it means a lot to me, and I'll see you all next time. Ta-ta!